So good evening all. So welcome to the special episode of our podcast series titled Bloodlines and Bottom Lines. So today we have with us uh, one of the most iconic brand from Kerala, the Muthoot PAPPACHAN group, and we have the next gen sitting with us. And we are very fortunate that we got 5 of them here. So I think missing is only one person, if I'm not two people. So it's very fortunate, and thank you for gracing us. And it's like it's not an interview format. We'll just take it as it goes. So what we are trying to unearth or trying to reach here is basically the legacy of the Muthoot PAPPACHAN group and how the new generation, the next generation, is taking it forward with a new fire on the belly, with the purpose, a renewed purpose, if at all. Those kind of things is what we are going to discuss here, and there is no time limit, so we'll take it as it goes. So there is no time. This is not an interview format. Podcast. The good thing about podcast is there is no restrictions per se. So you can go and you can ask questions to me. You can, if you want, you can ask questions to between yourselves also, to make it more exciting or conversational or controversial. Up to you how you can take it forward. So just to start, like this I'm asking just to, I have some frame in my mind. So just to kick things start, what is in one word you can call on Muthoot PAPPACHAN Group's legacy? I think everyone should answer in one word.
Trust. Values.
I think humbleness is one of the biggest factors there. I think
Impact.
Yeah. Purpose-led.
So good that you all have different answers, but in some sort of one single answer towards all this. And Hannah, I think, who's the youngest? Hannah will be there. So Hannah, so what will be your earliest memory of Muthoot legacy?
I think the earliest memory would be what would you mean by the word legacy? Is it what
So
I've
you
seen
are part of a
growing
group.
up?
You are part of a group. You are part of, you talked about the purposes today. So there is
Right.
some impact. There is some purpose. There is a business is happening, but you know that I am part of something huge here. You understood that. Earliest memory.
I think it came on much later for me, not in my younger days for sure. But for me to feel that very much the impact of the legacy would only be after I joined the company, and seeing the number of employees that we interact with, the number of customers we interact with. I think that's when it actually, the legacy part really hit, because till then I think there's a lot of conversations about business that happens in family tables or when we are in family meetings together, but it was never in a business setting or professional setting in that sense. So I think for me it came much later on in life.
I think she had 2 points to what she added. I think I'll just add to that. I think all of us have had two levels of legacy understanding, from our father and uncles, and then my grandfather as well. Then the professional way of getting into the legacy or understanding the legacy.
So the legacy can be a double-edged sword. You know that it comes with it can be an honor or a pressure. I think Ritu, I think you
I
should.
was thinking of things when Thomas was talking. So, like you said, legacy has two sides of it. So, the good side is that, we've existed for 139 years. By God's grace, we're here and to be able to talk about it. But then the the other side of it is that we can't just hold on to the legacy. You have to transform, the business. You have to be adaptive of future technology, and sometimes that even requires a churn in your system, churn in the people, which is not comfortable for everyone, but then it is required. So I think that is the other side, the double edge of legacy, which is sometimes a hard thing to do, but it is a much needed thing if you want to really embrace the legacy and move on with the changing times.
Yeah, I think it makes it both, a sense of responsibility and stewardship that comes with it, but also excitement that comes with the ambiguous part of it, where you get to evolve a business that has been around for a long time. So I think, yeah, two sides to it.
So
I
Tina,
think I think a lot of history. See, history is always something which teaches what has gone wrong, right? So I like the subject of history. You learn a lot what has happened in the times, and then what you should correct and should not do. So I think that is something which is always there in that legacy of an organization, right? Where always things may not go right. There could have been mistakes. How do you correct those mistakes? How do you not make those mistakes? And that's where the factor of humbleness comes in, right? You need to be humble enough to understand your mistake, accept your mistake, and move forward.
Yeah, open to accept something new also.
yeah. So Tina, so was that the legacy, the business, was a conscious choice for you for getting into the business, or an expected one?
A little bit of both. So I always tell this to people that I'm the experiment case because I was the oldest in the generation, the first.
Both of us.
Yeah, we're like 2 months apart, but everything like we went through the first, like getting into the business, getting married, like going through those life changes. That's not an experiment, but like having kids and then
Again, not an experiment.
but these
What you
life,
expected to do in the business.
yeah, but these
the
No, no,
life
I asked you the
No, no, no.
question: is a
No.
conscious choice or an expected? She said both.
okay, coming back to
No,
why
no, that is the funny thing. Both of us did, then she came.
So yeah, so when like I think Thomas and I joined, we didn't really have a structure. So we had a history of how we knew how the earlier generation had done it. It was quite informal. They grew with the business, so we were also expected to do the same thing. But when we came in, like we were mostly observers. We weren't sure what to do, and every time we took that as a problem to the senior generation, we were told this is how we did it, so it'll be fine for you. But we knew that it wasn't fine. So, but I think for some time, like we held on. Then we realized that there has to be some structural changes. We need to bring in more governance. We need to have a role for the next generation that's coming in. So we're 7 of us in our generation and 9 years apart between the oldest and the youngest. So there's been a remarkable change in how the next gen comes in now and how it was done for us.
I think, and now when it goes into we are in the 4th generation. When it goes to the 5th generation, it's a totally different structure and.
For all you know, they'll be saying the same thing about us.
So, like coming back,
I mean, the bigger problem would be we are. I mean, we wouldn't say that we are exactly opposite of our parents, but things have changed how you parent a kid and all that. So there's a lot more, acceptance of if you want to get into the organization or if you are going in some other direction or not. It's a big question to be answered. So there is a lot of that structuring and science being done on the back end for the next generation as an even more bigger, longer process. Because as young as they are, they need to get into the, as you said, the legacy. But it will not be a much more a forced structure, it will be a more east structure for them, I feel.
But Tina, I think for you had done the chartered accountancy.
Yeah.
So basically, your the academic preparation was also similar to that.
In line with, I mean, I knew at the back of my mind I'd be getting in at some point in time, just wasn't sure when. Like in hindsight, if I had gone back, I would have really liked if, at least whatever was prepared for the younger.
But that was also a dream lived through the child.
Yeah, doing the CA. But the thing is, I wish that structure was there when I got in, because getting into the family business is not
because
as easy.
I think that's why I said, because we had gone out and worked for an MNC or MNCs in Tina's case. So we came in with a lot of baggage of the structure and governance and openness and all that stuff, right? So I think that was something which we were looking at when we came back, which was missing then. Now if you look at it, it is a much more comfortable structure and growth.
I remember even creating our own roles for us at some point to bring in that.
As the youngest, though, I came in with structure, and that wasn't easy either, because I came in as, I think, Ashfaq,
So I think this is the same thing. It will keep on repeating.
It will keep
So the next
repeating.
generation coming in, they will say that we created more
Exactly.
better structure.
because it wasn't easier because it was structure, but I was expected to come from bottom up. So my first job was as area manager. So that was also a very
I think as a
challenging
management
role.
trainee for a year, and then you took on the role
Yeah,
of an
management
area
trainee and then area manager.
We were
but-
management trainees for 4-5 years continuously.
Yeah.
Till they found a role for us that we could do.
So Susanna, in your view, what is the actual responsibility of the next generation? Is it to protect? Is it to grow? Or to reinvent?
I think you mentioned all three things that.
No, but if you want to yeah.
Like you said, the legacy is a double-edged sword. It comes with a lot of responsibilities. It was built with people's trust, and that I think is a big responsibility for us to make sure that we're stewards of the business and ensure that legacy continues and we maintain the same values that our older generations had built before us. But I think along with that, what is required of us is to ensure that the world is changing very, very rapidly. So I think we need to make sure that as we grow the company, we are making sure that it is something that will adapt to this really changing, very fast changing world. So reinventing will happen depending on the organization. That we will have to go back and take everything out of a box and sometimes only put back what is relevant into the box and ensure that the company works with agility. Because with legacy, sometimes you have baggage that comes along with it. So you want to make sure that the company is agile, the company is digitally savvy, and growing with the needs of the underserved community. So I think I would put it in, summarize it, I would say responsible to continuing the legacy and evolving and making sure that we're changing with the world.
What role does the next generation play? I think that's a really interesting question to even reflect on. If you look at our dads, I think everybody took on a different role, but a very essential role as third generation of the business. There's an innovator, there's somebody who is a protector, there's somebody who's thinking about the branding, the story behind this thing, who reminds us of the legacy. So I think it's important as our generation also gets into certain roles, and I think you should give each person that space also to take on that role, because they're very essential roles. I don't think all of us needs to play the same role.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a really nice synergy to have different people wanting to protect, somebody who wants to evolve, somebody who wants to innovate, somebody who is passionate about technology. think that's very essential as a
So when you
business growth.
since you asked that thing, so can you explain, like, for the audience and also for the viewers, each of you? So now 5 of you are here. So each of you, what is your roles and responsibility in the MPG group, Muthoot Papachan group as such? If you can, each of you can,
Yeah, so
starting
to
with
just give a
yeah.
quick background, thankfully, I think we have a very diverse set of interest and passion, and because we started from the bottom up and got experience really working in each of the group companies and understanding various. So we did the management training program that we were part of. It was very rotational. So you studied not just the group companies, but you ensured that we spend some time in each of the functions as well. So we've taken up, some of us are in different group companies, and some of us focus on functions and head functions as well. So
Is there? Can you specify? Yeah, I think Tina,
Yeah,
if you can
so
start.
I look after our vehicle finance division, which is a listed company. It has a portfolio of about 3,000 crore.
Muthoot Capital Services.
Yeah, Muthoot Capital Services. So two-wheeler, used car, used CV, different types of two-wheeler, ICE, EV. So the story is that if anything's on wheels, we want to do it in this company. Yeah, so that's what I look at.
Yeah, I started off with human resources, and when we started the digital office, Muthoot FinCorp One, so I set up the Muthoot FinCorp mostly. Yeah, Muthoot
You should
FinCorp.
announce your new role. No?
Yes, yes. And also, yeah, hospitality. So since that we don't speak about it much, but that is still part of the diversified business, and
Hotels and real estate.
estate. Yeah. So that is my area of interest. So I started off there, and my focus is still on that.
Yeah, so I'm now taken up as executive director for our microfinance business, Muthoot Microfinance. I've just taken up 4 months back on the microfinance business. Microfinance, as you know,
Again, listed entity.
Yeah, again listed entity. It's been a year since we are listed.
So here there are researchers here, or investors
industry
who will be
is in-
interested in Muthoot Capital Services and Muthoot Microfinance.
Yeah, so as executive director, I would say that industry isn't doing so well.
But day before yesterday, stock went to 15%.
But I feel it's a very important industry for the country. I think if something happens in that last mile of that customer, it affects the economy. So it's very important as a systemically important industry, but it has its own cycle. So I think a lot more technology is being used to focus on disbursement and collection. We are also investing in AI in the credit scoring and credit analysis part of it. As an organization, we are in a much better position. I think looking at it, we'll be in a much better position in the coming quarters as well. Yeah, so that is my one part of my job. The other part of my job is focused on our technology business. And then we kind of created a team. We started off with 3 people back in 2022 with absolutely zero capital. We work out of co-working space, and we still work out of co-working space. Started off with 3 people. In a month or two, we were around 40. Now we are at around 200 plus. Majority of them are techies focused on technology development and all that.
Basically, it's gold loan online. Like,
no.
what is that?
All
Muthoot
are
wants?
anything that the branch can serve, and much more on a platform.
Yeah,
On a platform.
So I'm coming to that point where platform just doesn't mean an app, just doesn't mean a website or something like that. So it is more of an open loop system where a partner can also come and connect to us. We can connect to, so it's all API driven. Moreover, we have interaction of linkages to, say, for example, partners like PhonePe, Bharat Pay, to even beyond gold loan. We have products which are tailored to their type of customers. It'll be a personal loan, business loan, whatever. So gold loan is one of the products of the plethora of products which we have. Starting with lending is one side of it. Savings, investments, insurance, whatever you can think of, all in one system basically. And now we have also started financial marketplace as well. So you can get credit cards and all that.
Yeah, so I lead our, I head our affordable housing finance company, Muthoot Housing Finance Company Limited. We primarily do loan sizes of around 10 lakhs to 11 lakhs for building a home. And I think in the last 1 year, which is when I stepped into this role, you used the word reinvent before. So that's what we've been doing. We've been reinventing the business and building an organization that is very execution driven and building a deep specialization in self-construction housing loans because the affordable housing market in itself, I think, is projected to be around 44 lakh crore by 2030. It's about 13 lakh crore now. So there's a huge potential for growth. And out of that 44 lakh crore, about 60 to 70% comes from self-construction. And it's a tough product to do because there's an additional cost, because self-construction comes with the risk. The person who takes the loan is the one who constructs the house. So there's a chance of it not being completed. You have to do multiple technical verifications of the property to see what stage the construction is at. So it's a big, bold step that we're taking, but I think it will reap a lot of benefits later. So that's what we've been in.
You're also working from like any office per se? Or?
Yeah, I work out of our Cochin office, but Muthoot Housing Finance Limited is based out of Bombay.
Yeah, I started, as I said, in FinCorp as an area manager, and then after my masters, I've come back and very interested in the social impact space. So I've taken over our foundation and CSR, and specifically we do a lot of work in development of sport. So I've taken on a role as director of sport in the company, and we previously always looked at everything we do in sport as a social impact project, but trying to very much professionalize a lot of things that we do and create a very good sporting ecosystem in the country. I've also taken on the role of head of strategy at Muthoot Microfinance. It's only been 2 months, so I'm very much learning microfinance just like I understood FinCorp. So that's a learning journey for me right now. And outside of Muthoot, I also run my own company called Aura Health.
I'm going to ask you that.
Yeah, but it's what I'm most proud of. So.
I know that. I know
Her
that.
own startup she's running.
Yeah, I know. I know. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of that. No, so see, it's all looking good. Because you have
Did you go to a Bangalore event or Cochin event?
No, Cochin event. So actually, so you're all looking good because I think for sure the next generation have actually set up things in a much better structural way. And I can't see too much of overlap in roles there as I'm hearing right now, because there is clear defined roles for each and every person. But don't tell me that you don't have friction. You will have friction for sure. Any family businesses will have friction. But I'm just curious to understand what is the structure in place to avoid that friction? Or how do you address that friction? There will be frictions for sure. So I'm just saying that, is there any structure in place to avoid frictions? Is there a consulting thing, or is there a third party involved or something like that? I think Thomas, I think.
I mean, I don't think so. There's any.
I think friction maybe in the last, we've all been in the business for
maybe 7 to 10, 11 years, if I'm not wrong. And
It's
After
not
14
business
years,
alone.
yeah.
It can be difference of opinion in certain decision
I
making.
think we felt this a lot in the year 2017, 18. Because by then, most of us had got into the business. That was a time like we were going through these life changes and we
Yeah.
didn't know what to do. We're moving out of Cochin. People are based in Bangalore and all. Should we be in the business because we've moved out? All these questions were coming up. Should the women continue in the business because they got married? We weren't sure because we didn't have a conversation before that. And we felt like, and when we felt like we didn't have a role, what's our next step? What is our growth? At that time, like we had attended certain seminars on family business and all. We had no idea about, how to get a governance in place. But when we attended these events, like we got to know of people who work with family businesses and we started approaching them. They guided us. Then we had a few consultants on board who helped us get a governance system in place, work on our constitution. And working on the constitution took a few years. We've left a small part open because we still need a trust structure and all. We're waiting for RBI approval and all to come for that. So, but during those 2-3 years when we were working on the constitution, we were meeting like every month, spending a whole day, like going through certain messy topics. And we've actually like cried in those meetings. But that got people opening up on difficult matters. So I think because of that, now when we see that a problem could be brewing, we know who to turn to. Like even internally, we know who to turn to.
You
At
know how
least-
to talk.
Yeah, at least we take it up to one of the uncles, one of the fathers, because we work with them. So, mothers not, unless it's a very emotional matter. But yeah, definitely like we can take it to the fathers and expect them to understand. Because just as an example, like me marrying and moving out of Cochin to Bangalore, and everybody else was in Cochin, like emotionally it was very difficult for me. This was before COVID, and people used to tell me like, why don't you just get on a video call, it's easy. But before COVID, nobody did video calls. And so like just me telling my father like, I feel very disconnected from the business. I don't know what I'm doing. Like people are sitting in Cochin, they forget that there's a person there. Like I'm not informed of things. And so that's on the business front. On the family front also, you feel disconnected because they're all talking business and you don't know what's happening. So I think like at that time, if I had gone to them with this problem, it would have just been like, it's a phase, you'll get over it. But now when there's a problem, like, okay, we have kids, so we're not able to travel for a meeting, have a hybrid meeting, they understand. Because a problem is a genuine problem. Then it was just some childish whine. So, yeah, I think that having those
So
monthly meetings actually helped.
So you basically going through that family constitution thing actually helped you understand there is a method to the madness.
Yeah.
There is a method to madness.
And it's fine to cry in front of the family members too. Like, I mean, you should.
But there is a problem to there is a way to address the issue.
Yeah.
And
I
And
think most of
even
the
now we've learned to lean on each other a lot as well. And, just amongst us, if there's anything that we need to get resolved, we tend to, we open about it, have conversations about it, or somebody's gone through it before we've gone through it. So then they're able to help us a lot. And
I think
that-
amongst us itself, we would have gone through a journey of some kind for the others who are going through that journey, guide them that way or the correct way of doing it.
that
I
also
think-
brought some unity between the next generation, between our generation.
Yeah, that was the trouble that I remember like after school, all of us went to different countries also to learn, and we kind of felt like we're missing our childhood, like otherwise every holiday we'd see each other. Now we didn't have anything to talk about. And we felt like we'd probably never come back to that kind of relationship. So yeah, and then when people started coming back, we didn't know where to pick up that conversation from. So all of this happened like 2016, 17.
Yeah, and I think the fact that we now see each other a lot and understand how each other works, their personality, and even though we were maybe in very different parts of the world for a couple of years, that helps in developing a good working relationship amongst all of us as well. But like you said, there so far, and I know this is not going to be true for the future, but the overlap and friction between the next generation has been very limited, if I can say. And it's just a story for the future, I guess.
I think
But,
when we sometimes sit down for our family business meetings, or when we sit down for a larger strategy for the entire group, there will be, understanding gaps. So that's something you need to close out over an argument, or over a rationality or something like that. That's always there. You need to put down your point, and you need to talk what you want.
But the best point is there is a method to that.
So I feel
It's not that you don't address the issue.
never
address
that. Never
So we
that.
have
and I don't think
monthly-
decisions are made
No,
if
but
one person is still, not on board. I think until we get everybody on board and ensure that everybody is on the same page.
Yeah, I think there's a
the
mutual
consensus
respect.
is
Yeah,
So-
consensus.
So see, I would not say the word friction. It's much more harder to look at it as a friction, but there'll be differences in thinking where you need to kind of get an alignment.
alignment on it. Correct.
And that mostly right now, I think it would be between generations
Yeah.
rather than inter.
Because you guys are all Gen Z.
No, yeah,
The millennials, I think.
Some of us are Gen Z, some of us are Gen Y.
At the border.
No, but I feel most of us are, when we make a decision, we kind of put our foot down and say that we want it this way.
with logical reasoning.
With logical
not
reasoning,
because of-
obviously. Not that we are arrogant or something like that. But we kind of put it down because we have possible leaders and experts telling us that is the way forward, right? So
We can give you one solid example. So when we all came to the business, like Muthoot was a 6-day working, company, and we said that's not going to
Meeting
work.
run,
You're not going to
meeting
attract talent with, working 6 days a week. At least not in the head offices. We can't help it in the branches because they have to cater to the customers. So I think that was one of the first things we got changed, and. Yeah, Thomas was very instrumental because he made a revolt in
very tough
in
word
the
to say.
office. We managed to get one Saturday off, and then just last year we managed to get 2 Saturdays off. But
No, I mean, like
don't talk me here. There are my. So we were at 2 Saturdays off. Now I cut it to one Saturday.
But even though
No, but let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. When we started the FinCorp 1 office, and FinCorp 1 is a slightly different, newer version of what Muthoot is all about. So we have all Saturdays off. So
you shouldn't be saying that here.
But you guys will be working like 12 in the night also.
Yeah,
Techies work like
Yeah, they don't
we
have much
don't
of a
have
defined time.
we don't have any defined time of work. So Sundays also some of us work.
So I think, Hannah, this is a question for you. So with defining purpose, like you already said that you like that Aura Social, which is your baby. So your personal purpose and your family business purpose, is it aligned, or you have a conflict, or how are you dealing with that?
I think
Or
sometimes
more passion or business, or what are the thinking process, thought process going through your mind?
I think it's sometimes a work in progress, thinking about where do I fit in, where is my individual purpose. But it's always very encouraging for me to be part of the foundation work we do. I feel a lot of purpose in what we're doing there. And at Muthoot, we look at what we're doing at the foundation very differently, I feel, from a lot of other companies. We really look at it as this is very instrumental to what we're doing. We really need to help the nation build. So I think that gives my everyday a lot of purpose. And I think because we also cater to the underserved segment of the population, being in a company like microfinance and getting to innovate there also gives me a lot of purpose. How can we think about products that are actually causing impact for the women as well as the next generation? How can we actually come up with services, or how can we come up with community programs? So it's endless, the kind of things that we can innovate at this stage of the business. So I think that still gives me a lot of purpose. But as you said, there are days where I feel, of course, do I have um, a very different purpose when it comes to health and wellness also, and is there a way that I can tie it all in? So there is that those questions that come up sometimes.
And that too coming from a person who has never played sport.
But yeah, that is very
she used to be
passion-driven.
she used to be a national badminton player one point in
So I
time.
lost every game. But it does give a lot of purpose to my day, definitely,
Yeah,
that
so-
we can create something like that. And I think it's very important once you, as a company, when you get to the size that we are in, I think we really need to think about what are ways that you can build up the nation as well. I think India as a country requires a lot of corporates to take up those roles, and I think it's our purpose to take that forward, whether that is through sport, whether that's through any other initiatives we do. But sport is one thing that we are very passionate at Muthoot.
So as of now, you're not tied up health and wellness to.
No,
There's-
but maybe in the
Not
there's
yet.
one thing.
Not yet.
While Hannah's running this as her entrepreneurial venture, there's a lot of focus on health and well-being
In
in
the
the
company.
organization.
In the
Yeah.
inside the group itself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pioneered by-
all across the group. If you see, for example,
We call it Muthoot Health Triangle.
yeah, health triangle.
So it focuses on
Not just that, microfinance has its own A division cricket team. There's a football team, like professional level teams, and there are many of us have company employees who have gotten in through sports quota. So just like a government organization, we have sports quota, which is bringing in a lot of more people. I think, Hannah, one more thing to add to what the sports academies are going to focus on is, what I meant is not just the players. It could be analytics focused coaches. So we are looking at building career not just as an athlete, much beyond that. If you can't become an athlete, you can build your career or your academic focused on the sports industry. So as I said, somebody getting into a international league could be as a coach, could be as a manager, could be as a data scientist, could be as a nutritionist, can be in all focuses of sports.
So next question I'd like to is the fire in the belly. So your previous generation, so well, even my dad and all, so they actually grew up in a time of like scarcity. Today we are fortunate that we are living in the time of abundance today. So you're talking about new projects. The earlier thing is all about how do you live the next day or the current day itself. So what is keeping you? The drive is there for each of you. What will keep you awake? The fire in the belly is what is it? So you know that previous generation is very different. You need to live that day. There's no other option. Anyone can take, like, in fact, each of you can answer in your own.
I think for me right now, it is definitely I go to sleep and wake up thinking about the school that we're building. So that definitely gives me that fire in the belly, as you're saying, or like ikigai. So every morning I really wake up thinking about this sports school that we're building in Kerala. What are the things that we need to do to set it up? Will it fail? Will it succeed? Are there ways that we can improve it? Will we have will be able to get to the vision we want? What are our plans with it? So I think that really is the fire in the belly I have right now. But I think at each stage of my career, I would like to have something that is my ikigai at that point, which both the country and the company can kind of develop through it.
Yeah, same thing. I think the last 1 year has been the most exciting time I've had professionally. And I think it's because coming into Muthoot Housing, it's one of the smaller companies in the organization, but the potential is huge. Affordable housing is a buzzword today. And coming in and seeing the potential we have and how can we build something meaningful. Today, I don't think Muthoot Housing is a well-known name in the market. Muthoot FinCorp might be, Microfin might be, but how can we take a company at this size and build a company that influences the industry in the future? And that's the kind of thinking that we've been doing in the last 1 year. We've been brainstorming, really sharpening our strategic focus. And like I said, we've been, we want to be the undisputed leader in self-construction housing finance going forward. And that's the 3-year strategy that we've taken this year as well. So building something meaningful and taking things that, exist today and changing it and evolving it into this meaningful organization is what I think drives me.
See, I think I have two sides to it. From the responsibilities which I have, and the other would be on the group level side of things. See, I think what keeps me awake in the night, or what I think first thing in the morning, is on how to get the organization to become a benchmarked organization, possibly on the platform side or on the affordable side, where we are looked up to be the organization to be for the others, and obviously looking at reaching a larger customer base. For example, Muthoot FinCorp, the platform has reached close to around 5 million customers in a span of 1.5 years. So with technology, you have an exponential growth trajectory. So we are looking at, in the next 2 years, to reach a 50 million customer base. In 3 or 4 years time period, another 50 million or so. So that closing to around 100 million customer base. So that's that. How do you get there? How do you build the capabilities for that organization? How do you recruit the right people? Should we invest even more on AI, machine learning, and possibly focused on diversifying into other products and all that stuff? That is one part of it. Obviously, MML is an interlinking aspect to it, because there's going to be much more competition in that industry with getting to the customer, because with the new rules of customers not having more than 3 lenders, it makes it more scarce in the market. So you need to be more innovative with your products, with your technology, with your reachability to these customers. So all these aspects come into play. From a group level, I think so, as an organization, how do you get all these products, what Susanna has, what Tina's focus points are, and from MML and from the MFL side, how do you create an end-to-end digital virtual branch to our customers? How are we going to be relevant for the next generation of our customers' kids, basically, or kids of our customers, basically? How relevant are we? Are we going to be, something which people would look up to beyond gold?
Yeah, I think for me it's quite different, because like the other said, when you're involved in a particular thing, of course that drives you, but for a long term, that is not going to drive you. I think for me, it's just the sense of responsibility that you have been handed down, and what I've seen, the way that my grandfather works, or the way my my dad and his brothers work. We've never seen them waste a moment. So that, I think, puts a bit of pressure, but it also makes you feel like you can take your breaks, but then your responsibility is towards your family business. And like you said, in their case, they didn't have a choice if it's this or something else. It was always this. But for us in the early years, yes, we did think, if it's not this, why not work somewhere else? We're, better valued there. But having gone through the grind and having figured out what we like here, now it's more the responsibility that drives us.
So I think just I wanted to add to one part she said. No, our dads, when we used to go for holidays, they're always connected on the phone at work.
Yeah.
So when it comes to our generation,
we know how to disconnect, and we feel a bit guilty that
we get a feeling of FOMO when you disconnect completely. I just went for a holiday. I couldn't disconnect completely if you ask me, but as we in the next generation, we are lucky enough to have a professional management.
Yeah. I think that is the difference.
Below us to kind of, we have, so the MML CEO has been there from the beginning. There's a system, there's a structure, there's access. I mean, so it is more autonomously driving. So there is systems there, but still you need to have a understanding of what is the day-to-day activity and all that.
And I think the comfort is there that the senior generation is still there, but maybe the moment they disconnect, then I think our sense of responsibility would be much.
I think all of us, I think her dad, especially in the MML side, her dad, whatever decisions we are making or I make for MML is guided through him. Advice is given, mentorship is done.
Yeah, so that gives you a lot of comfort.
And you have that courage of if your decisions go wrong, you have to have a fallback plan ready, right? So that's always there.
Tina, for you?
So Susanna, Thomas, and we recently took up the executive board positions in each of our companies. The only difference for my company was that everyone in the senior generation stepped down. So at least for them, the senior generation is at least there in the non-executive position. For me, like...
Was it conscious or through the RBI denomination? I know the RBI...
Yeah, I think I'll leave it at that.
Both are there, I know that.
I think, it had to be done.
Yeah.
But I think the moment, although I was pseudo working in a similar role, just having them there was something to fall back on. But the moment they stepped down, like, I could feel that immense weight of their absence. So yeah, whenever we have any reviews, they're on the call, but they don't speak. Now, like they listen. Now it's more for us to, make those decisions or make the mistakes or whatever it is. It's time for us to experiment. But like I definitely feel the weight that they're not there, and we have to get used to it. So. I think it's part of the whole process of growing up, but
but also I think, Tina, there's a management how you manage your systems and how I manage and how she manages are totally different from all three of us, right? Yeah. So that's different.
That's on one side on how I feel. Just on the business that I'm looking at. So for till very recently we were monoline, just two-wheelers. And we had started used car just before COVID, but because it was COVID, then we didn't pursue it. And 2 years ago, again, we picked it up. And then last year, we also started a new line of commercial vehicle. So we're just waiting to see how these two will stabilize, and then we can get into other allied products like construction equipment, maybe tractor financing. All come with their own risks, seasonality, everything. I want to get into it. But I also don't want to push the pedal so far, and be over ambitious that I disrupt the system. But yeah, I think I'm thinking we can't not be there. We had the comfort of just being monoline till COVID, but a lot had changed during COVID. We had a book to protect during COVID, so we stepped away from our dealerships. We were focusing on collections, but during that time, the entire lending landscape for two-wheelers changed, and there was so much we had to grapple with once we came back into the market. So Yeah, so I honestly don't want to waste any more time into getting into new products, but I also don't want to overburden the team or get them to lose their focus. So yeah, that's on my mind right now.
Something that Ashik and Tina were saying, you spoke about legacy being a double-edged sword, but the older generation, our fathers, the way they worked, that was also a double-edged sword. I think initially when we came in and we were really like learning the business, they kind of gave us all the freedom to learn the way we wanted. We wanted structure and we wanted them to tell us what to do. I think we were grumbling a little bit then, but now that we've really, understood the business and want to take bold steps or leaps or experiment a little bit here and there, start new lines of business. And I think everyone here can tell you, now we're seeing the flip side of that, where they really give us the freedom to, as long as what we're saying logically makes sense and we defend our idea, they give us a lot of freedom to try new things and give us a lot of freedom within the functions and companies that we're in to kind of run it the way we see fit. I think that's also something I think we now really appreciate about the older generation.
So last couple of questions from my side, then we will open up the floor for final 10 minutes or something for the floor to ask. So this question I don't like to ask, but still I have to ask the gender question. Because you have 4 women here and 1 gender.
എനിക്ക് disadvantage ആണ്.
6 and 1.
6 women and 1, yeah.
6 and 1.
She got that question from a very famous person.
So typically I don't like to ask because my daughter will kill me. But having said that, I know that how our society works here. So it's not about between Ashik and all, but I'm saying that I know the structure is there for you. There are professional managers across, from CXO levels to all the managers. Did you find any difficulty handling them? I know that you worked bottoms up, so it was one way it was doing it. But when you are doing it on a day-to-day affair today, are you still facing that issue just because you are being a gender? I'm just asking.
I think more than the gender aspect, because we came up, a lot of our CXOs and CEOs and leadership team has been there for a long time. So they've seen us come up from the bottom up. And I think more than gender, I think that seeing us as children coming in and learning the business and now them reporting to us, I think there might have been a little bit more work that we needed to do to get
Make them
that
also comfortable,
respective.
yeah.
So basically you're saying more than the gender, you're seeing that the age can be the one. One issue like
I think the gender
may not be
aspect-
talked about, but at least
I think gender aspect comes a little bit more from maybe when we were younger, and I don't want to speak for anybody else, but for me, even when I was in college, I wasn't entirely sure if we were coming back to the business, but I'm sure Ashik knew from a young age that this is what he wanted to do. But
No,
for us, it was
I actually wanted to go to the UN.
but this was what you were expected to do.
Yeah, I think
I felt a lot more.
Same thing that I said. Like,
Yeah.
we get married, we weren't sure.
I had actually a very alternative career plan.
But once we came in, I don't think there was a huge difference in how we were treated as male and women. But once we got married, and all 4 of us are new parents, and I think we're starting to see a little bit more challenges on, because naturally for the women you have a little bit more responsibility with bringing up the children and your household responsibilities, and it's been a little bit more challenging to try and balance that. But Tina did it first, and then experimented first, and then we just kind of followed. And every time it becomes tough, we have somebody to lean on.
And I think that really helps. Having, like
Each
you
other to
said,
lean.
6 women, it's a lot easier to share your experiences when there are other women who are leading the way or above you or who are peers to you. So I think that is very, very supportive to have.
I think if it was the other way around,
Yeah.
that one
If
poor
it was just
woman
one
would
or
have
two,
That
yeah.
poor
suffered.
woman would have had
I don't
a lot
know.
of
I
You
can't.
know, you
I
never
can't
know.
ask how
She might be the queen. You never
And
know.
we have great examples in the family also. Our mothers work, and we've seen them balance work and family as well. So they were able to, understand and guide us on how this can be done. And um, we're fortunate enough that we can build a support system even at home and in the office, so that when we need to be at home, we can be at home and have, delegated to people at work. And when we need it at work, you have support system at home as well.
I think I speak for everyone here. I think there is a lot of spousal support which all of us get, and I know for a fact all of us have that. So that there is work-life balance which is very different from our previous generation to us, because
Yeah, they were all men.
all men, and more than that, it has a support which is, if you look at it, majority women. There's a support from home as well. For example, for myself, as from a vertical, I mean, straight opposite side, I need to also support my wife whenever it's needed at home. So that factor also comes in, and that kind of links up to what we are at right at this point of time. I think from a gender perspective, to a large extent, it is not there in a executive level or for any of them, what I felt. But for all of us, there's an issue of whether we were just given a position or we fought for that position. We were equally benchmarked for that position. So that's always a question in many of our CXO level or executive level. For that, I think many of us have literally worked our asses off or gotten our hands dirty to kind of work to where the position is, or where the position is now, to kind of create our own or find our own
Identity,
paths to that. It is not that any of us have been helicoptered to a position of any kind.
Good, great. So my final question, it's more than a question. It's like you need to put out a statement out there, because the whole objective of this podcast or this kind of program is to showcase Kerala businesses or South Indian businesses to the country at large. So we all know Muthoot PAPPACHAN Group, the Muthoot FinCorp Group, how relevant and how big, how scaled it is. But maybe the country at large is still not getting the point, because we being a stock market participant and a wealth management kind of thing, so we know how people see. So what will be the one statement you would like to put out there for them to see you? There should be something to they will give you only 1 or 2 minutes to see you. That will be 1-2 minutes what you will see.
I don't know if all our answers would be the same, but for me personally, I think Hannah spoke about the purpose behind the sports and the foundation part of it. But as an organization, we're very purpose driven, and you ask any employee, they'll be able to tell us what our purpose is, which is transforming the lives of the common man by improving their financial well-being. And I think that is the core of what we do. And every time we diversify or add a new product line, we have the thought of, this is our customer, and what are the life cycle needs that we have not yet met. For example, we had the gold loan business. We started the microfinance because there was a whole segment of underserved population who would not have been eligible for even a gold loan at that point. So how do you bring them into the organized segment? Then how do you grow that low-income segment and build them up through giving them options to save in a very simple and convenient way, so that they can graduate to the next level, become a person who can take a gold loan in case of an emergency, and they're not crippled by financial situations. Then when it comes to a marriage, or it's time to buy a two-wheeler loan, or and finally comes down to the biggest aspiration is to even buy a home. So how do you meet the life cycle needs of a customer is something that we come back to always. And thinking about the future of the organization, we have a very deep understanding of this segment, and being in this business for the last 135 years, 38 years, we have collected a lot of data. We understand the customer, and we want to create an organization where, majority of our customers, 70-75% of our customers, stay within the organization to meet any of their financial needs. And I think because of the knowledge we have, we're able to personalize. I'm talking about the future and how we see the organization in the future. We will have the capabilities to customize a loan or anticipate a financial need of the customer and serve them better, so they never have to look outside to meet their financial needs. So I think that's
one business thing you guys didn't touch, but I liked more. I
The
personally
Swarnavarsham.
like.
The Swarnavarsham?
It's Muthoot Exim.
Muthoot Exim, yeah. So Swarnavarsham is a product.
So I don't
where-
know many people know about Muthoot Exim. So again, this was also, I spoke to one of the fund manager in Bombay, and I was just giving an explanation on my understanding on Muthoot Exim. So he was so excited and say that what is the possibility of listing that company?
Yeah, it's a beautiful company. It's a beautiful product where, the two words, simple and convenient, affordable and convenient for the customer, where, they can come and at today's rate, book a gold coin or a jewelry as low as half a gram. And now we've made it digital where they can buy even 1 rupee worth of gold today, and it's a assisted model. So even somebody who's not tech savvy can
And
be a part of this.
you can sell also. You can also redeem it as a gold jewelry as well. So in the platform, you can do it completely seamlessly, and also do an SIP over it. So
We have a lot of customers who've come back and taken and saved up for their children's
So
marriage.
we're going to handle that. We're going to speak separately on that.
no, but I think as that particular business is already there in that platform which I was talking about. So all of our products are in that platform so that will basically, that business is there integrated into so that reaches a larger customer base, right? So
we'll open the floor for 10-15 minutes and before we close. Any questions from the audience? You want to ask any questions? Or?
There's a question there. There's a question.
Yeah, I think she. Sorry, yeah. Yeah, can
Very off the topic question. In a parallel universe, what would each of you be doing if not for Muthoot?
Oh, I'd be a professional organizer.
she has already created. She has already created a tariff for it, a price for it. Couple of lakhs, no? Now I had multiple things when I was young. I even mentored a little bit with a bureaucrat to prepare for my IAS at one point. Then I kind of focused more. I mean, that was like a subcategory of what it was all about, and I really wanted to do economics and public affairs course from London School of Economics, and create a career for myself in the UN, because I was very much focused on international relations. I'm still interested in that. I keep reading about it. If not Muthoot, then that would be a career for me.
I think for me, in very parallel universe, because I thought about this as a child. I wanted to become a doctor, but I'm terrified of blood. So, but I love learning about the body and like anything medical related.
Her husband is into medicine.
He's not a doctor.
Yeah, I think I get to do that a little bit with
Parallel.
yeah. But I think if it was completely, then I would go all out. Yeah. So
I wanted to become a chef, but anyway, I was close to that. I did study
Chef or food
hospitality.
taster?
You know, a chef can taste enough food. So, but yeah, I did study hospitality. That's as close
Now,
as I
nowadays, she doesn't cook.
got. Yeah.
I think you got a question. You had a question? Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing your story. I'm all the way from South Africa, so it's exceptionally educational and insightful. Passion, purpose, and powerful. You can see it coming through. I have two questions. If your parents were here today, listening to what you have said, what might they respond to? What do they caution you about? And my second question is, if you could do your journey again, what would you change and why?
I can answer the first one very candidly. They don't respond much.
In fact, I invited them, they didn't come.
And they love listening, but if you go to them with an action plan, it's very hard to get that out of them. I don't know, is it just me or do you all face
Yeah, sometimes it's frustrating that they don't make a decision. We want.
Either they really believe in us or they've just given up. I
Or
don't
too,
know which one.
or too democratic.
Yeah, too diplomatic, that's the word.
Democratic.
People say a lot about our family, like the first introduction, when they say hi, we just smile. So that's how our dads are also like, you don't get much out of them. Like they respond with a smile.
And your second question?
Was
Do your journey again.
Oh yeah.
Like the professional journey? Professional.
Either.
What
This
would
journey
we
again.
do differently?
What would you do and why?
I think this is also something we have the privilege of attending a family business a CII event where they actually tell us how to groom the next gen. So listening to that, we felt that would have been a better journey for us, wherein you are exposed to the business as young as 5 years. Just casual exposure, you're brought to the office for special occasions, and it's not a forceful decision for the child. They can choose. But in our case, maybe when we were young, it was very ambiguous. Nothing was told. I don't know about in Thomas's case, but the rest of us, we all had that question whether we would join or not. But if something was clear that, you all are going to, join the business if you like, then they would have taken us to that journey really well. But we don't blame them because the way they experienced it, it was always in. They didn't have a choice to be out. So
Yeah,
they
I
just
think-
So for
I think
me,
when we were young, the times were also so different where, passing on your family business to a woman or your daughters were not so common. And by the time we grew up and they made that decision and times had changed, I think we just lost out on a little bit of that grooming. So
I think for me was very different because for my summer holidays, I used to spend a lot of time in my dad's office or the branch which was nearby. So I used to make a lot of friendly talk and talk to the staff, and so many of my decisions right now are triggering from the fact that what I've heard and seen from those uh, uh, staff members and maybe even customers at point. We have employees who have spent 30, 40 years. So I would have been 3 years when I would have spent time with them and all that. So there is a lot of that some level of forced integration at that point of time. And as she said, we have built a family constitution right now, but it's just almost 30-35% of what is done. We have much more to be done for the next generation, the existing generation and the earlier generation to kind of be in that proper family council system, right? So it's a long process. It will take much more time for the next generation also to come in as well. And your question, I think I would have extended my my career before Muthoot in an MNC for a little longer. maybe a little more growth in that organization would have been much more beneficial for me before I moved into the family business. That would have.
I think
that's
we
one-
should have joined after Hannah joined.
Yeah.
By then things would have been
Yeah,
stable.
because I was talking to, and we are having an open conversation. I was talking to another family business which is slightly older than ours, which is in their 5th generation or so. South Indian again. They have very different system where the next generation comes only when they are taking up an organizational senior role. Still then they are externally working in, say, an MNC, McKinsey, whatever big names you can think of, in a CXO level. So they are brought in as a CXO with a CXO knowledge, running a X billion or X $500 million business, and then coming into the organization with that knowledge. So that gives a lot of, that gives a lot more vision and focus and all that, but you may not know the ground reality. So there is good and bad to both those things. Yeah.
I think that ground reality was also so important because even now, a lot of what I rely on is the first 2-3 years of what we learned.
Yeah, for me, I'll take a little more time on that. So for me, when I joined from the KPMG to Muthoot, slightly forced movement. I didn't want to move because you were kind of creating your own name there, and you were trying to create your own career there, your own money basically. Nobody's questioning you what you do with that money, right? So it was forced. So that kind of understanding, and you're coming in with so much
New ideas.
Yeah. And aggression and a lot of inspiration from the leaders there and all that stuff.
But you're
And
met with resistance.
Yeah, you're completely restricted. Then at least.
Yeah.
Now things have changed a lot. You are like there was a very famous Malayalam dialogue, no? Mukesh Maran, like radio system, right? You hear, don't say anything back. You hear. I was like taken aback, and I'll be very open in this platform. I would say I took a bit of a break, maybe 6-7 months. I took a break. I was like taken aback of why should I go to office kind of a question. So because nobody was hearing me, you are not going to do anything. You are just CMD son there, right? You may have, you can't create any change there, right? That's when a bit of a role came in for me at Microfinance. I'm still thankful for that, because that organization kind of opened my eyes to the larger organization's vision of what we are really doing to the customer, what any of our financial product or any financial fund which are provided, what is the impact on the economy. That kind of changed my mind, and it kind of rewired my brain to kind of be more patient on understanding what the other person is also intending to tell and all that stuff. And also there's a transition in the organization to being more responsive of what you wanted to say and all that. Yeah, so I think I that kind of showed us the way to kind of create our own path, but creating that path with people joining our hands and kind of creating a joint effort and all that stuff like that.
So we are wrapping up. So what I could hear, or what I understood from this very candid conversations, thank you guys for giving us a very candid conversations, is one is legacy is a double-edged sword, but you guys have figured out what is your fire in the belly, and the clear structures are in place for the roles and responsibilities, and with how to address conflicts also, and taking it forward to the next generation, and also to make it very impactful for the economy at large in whatever businesses you are in. So this gives a very holistic view on how NBFCs or a finance company play a significant role in especially in Indian economy, and how the Muthoot Pappachan Group with the fourth generation actually gearing up for the future. And thank you guys. And already your fifth generation has already started. I'm hoping that you keep this legacy going forward for the next 100 years also.
The fifth generation has 3 boys and 2 girls.
Yeah, I know. So
They kind of rationalize it.
the
ratio is correct.
The 2 girls are there, we came there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much
Thank you,
for
guys.
having us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for